Good evening, everybody. It's Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. I hope everybody's doing well. I apologize for not getting on here sooner today, but things were a little hectic. For those of you who don't know, my cat's nonprofit building was completely vandalized by these criminals about a year or so ago. They actually tore all the insulation out of every window and every door, and they actually sliced portions of the door frame, punctured holes in the base. So I replaced the windows today, and hopefully it'll be a little bit better insulated, a little bit more secure, but there's a lot of cleanup to do in there afterwards, so I'm just getting started now. But I wanted to read two things, and they're pretty much along the same lines. With regard to the technology that's being used against us, the microwaves, etc. When I moved here, I noticed that my hair started falling out. And a friend came to visit, and he took readings on my smart meter, and they were all 5G. So I wrote a letter to my local energy company. I'm going to read it to you guys. Dear, so-and-so. One second, let me move this over a little bit. I am writing this letter to both companies meaning the internet service company and the electric company. Because when I call, I'm informed that I need to call the energy company, and when I call the energy company, I'm told to call the internet company. When the Wi-Fi and electrical services were hooked up at my house in the summer of 2019, I asked the technicians if they could bury the electrical wires underground. And I was informed that it was not possible. 2 tall poles were installed in the back of my house, as well as a smart meter. Later in the summer, one of the energy field technicians was deployed to my property to take readings. While here, he asked, how come the wires were not buried? And I mentioned that I requested it, but I was denied. I phoned the energy company after that visit and was informed that if I chose to bury the wires, that there would be an additional dig fee, yet that was not provided what those fees would cost. I was also told that I would lose electrical and internet service during that time. It is disturbing to know that the wires could have originally been buried, yet informed it was not possible. And what was a farm, I live on a farm, is now surrounded by electrical poles. My primary concern, in addition to the aesthetics, are health consequences from radiation exposure. The electric poles and smart meter are directly in back of my house where I sleep and spend most of my time. Since I have moved into my house, I have experienced a myriad of health symptoms directly related to electromagnetic field radiation exposure that did not exist prior to my moving into this house. Let me turn the page here, folks. This is where it gets good. This is where it gets even more juicy. And I apologize for it being dark. It's dark in my house. I don't have a lot of light here. I have called the internet company at least twice to discuss the modem, Wi-Fi, and local network signals. Each time the technician was very nice, yet didn't have any answers for me. I asked for the model and make of the modem so that I could log into the router and shut down the radio transmission. Explorer found high levels. To shut down the radio transmissions. An RF Explorer found high levels of RF outside the home, 2 feet from the smart meter, as follows: 4.7 kilohertz. 47 kilohertz, 149 megahertz, 24.59 to 31 is considered to be low, and 4866 to 5099 is considered to be high Wi-Fi. My concerns: the location of the Wi-Fi transmitter to where I hang out, where I sleep, location of the extender to where I work, high levels of EMF radiation inside the house, work area, and exterior. Solutions: logging into my router and shutting down the radio transmissions, which I'm unable to do because I need the model and make of the router, and it's not listed on the router. I'm hooking up via Ethernet only. I have noticed that, this is the good part, folks. This is even better. This is very curious now. Here. I have noticed that local neighbor networks around me are named 5 gigahertz operator, etc., 5 gigahertz guest 187, Quantanna, Quantenna, and CXNK 006B as in boy 5775. When I asked the technician, he said they belonged to neighbors. I asked if those neighbors' networks were in the 5G frequency range and if my connection was 5G, and I did not receive a straight answer. Please advise if 5G has been installed in this town and if my connection is 5G. Please advise where the tower antennas are located, and also advise which neighbors are using a 5G network. 5G is widely known to be associated with cancer, DNA damage, brain damage, sleep disturbances, and a myriad of other health symptoms. Many states and towns are denying the installation of 5G in smart meters and reverting back to analog meters. In California, a fire chief publicly stated that he will not permit his firefighters to climb poles with 5G, as the ones who did became ill and some developed brain cancer. And now I provided a link, and that link no longer connects to that article. I think they might have taken it down. So I said, I appreciate your assistance. Now I want to tell you folks, you see this here? You see that? Ironically, I had that same name on my network in New Jersey. Isn't that interesting? I wonder who it is. These were all on my network. So when I complained about it, they actually removed these people from my network, or removed my ability to view them. Okay? So now we're going to get to a comment that was on my YouTube channel under the Affidavit Service of Crimes by the Military Law Enforcement Joint Investigation. This was a few days ago. And this is by this individual. He says two TIs nearby in your neighborhood, there is a house spending above the amount of energy the normal house is. They are maintaining wave generators and electronic equipment turned on to torture you. Maintaining these wave generators and electronic equipment, if you find a way to detect which houses are using electric energy beyond normal, you will find your probable candidates of torture. Maybe the authorities can do some easy work, or some court would agree on this simple and cheap and fast investigation. Find some probable candidates that can be easily confirmed. This single, simple, cheap, fast act could save a lot of lives. Well, thank you very much, Viril Docs. So now, isn't that interesting, folks? How many of you have looked into your network to see who's connected to it? I'm really curious, and even more curious is that Quantanna, that name of that individual, was also on my network in Manalapan, New Jersey, when I lived at 52 Sutton Drive. Isn't that interesting, folks? I wonder who it is. But let me tell you, and Karen will be interested in this, you know, the ski mask neighbor? Well, he was an electrician, and you know what he does for a living? He installs smart meters all over the state. And when I had my forensic report done, analyzing the audios on my cameras, it was determined that a man named Ethan was involved with someone else in live streaming the events at my house. So anyway, folks, if you've got any comments, I welcome them. I thoroughly enjoy hearing your experiences and the knowledge that you have to offer. Any research that you can provide. If this has happened to you, I'd be really curious if you've looked onto your network, if you know what the radiation levels are, if you have a smart meter, if you have been able to have your smart meter removed. I know that, you know, when you're living in a rental, it's not really a possibility. You're kind of stuck there, you know, with what they have. But if you own a home and you have a smart meter, have you tried to get rid of it? But welcome to the newcomers. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lorraine. I moved from Manalapan, New Jersey, in a house that I lived in for 30 years as original owner. I started getting targeted by the Manalapan Police Department and other people, neighbors who I'd lived next door to for, 20 years, started acting strangely towards me. And I actually did see possibly the FBI or some security consultant thugs across the street going door to door to my neighbors, but not to me. So I became targeted then, asset stripped. I incurred more than $300,000 in damages to my house that I was renovating at the time. I could tell you all the numbers of people that were involved. There were at least 10 police officers at the Manalapan Police Department. You can see some of their lovely faces on my driveway. If you go to my video that says Tina Booth broke into my home, you can see a couple of those officers there. They're doing this for profit. They're doing it for revenge. Let's say somebody goes to them and says, hey, that Lorraine, she pissed me off. And I'm such a little wiener boy or girl. And my feelings were so hurt. But of course, I can't confront her and talk about it, so let's put her in a torture program. Let's make some money off of her, right? Let's break into her house and steal her belongings, harm her cats, prevent her from selling her house. Hee 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 hee. Let's go empty out her laundry detergent, her essential oils, stretch out her bras, pull the lace on her panties, pull pages out of her books. Oh, it's so much fun. We can act like we're 12 years old all over again. And we can make money doing it. Ha ha ha. That's what this world has come to, folks. The people that were hired to serve and protect as public servants have now turned into public tyrants. And no, not all of them are, but the good ones are leaving. They're going off grid. They're moving off grid. They're getting out of the cities. They know what's going on. They can either choose to go along to get along and participate in crime, or they can leave. Some of the good ones are leaving. The good ones that are staying, they unfortunately have to suck it up, which means that it's still a conspiracy against our rights. But this is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. That's it for my little mini rant. I hope everybody's having a good night. I hope to do some more videos tomorrow. And it's absolutely freezing here. I was 19 degrees when I woke up this morning. So I'm not looking forward to the winter time, folks. Signing off for now.